3 weeks before closing on her dream home, a buyer I was working with walked into a furniture store and bought a $4,000 living room set. She was excited. She had just been approved for her first mortgage. She was picking out furniture for a house she did not even own yet. She thought she was doing something harmless. 3 weeks later, her loan was denied. She lost the house. She lost her earnest money deposit. And she had to move back in with her parents while she tried to figure out what went wrong. This is the story of how one furniture purchase destroyed a 22-year-old first-time homebuyer's entire plan. And more importantly, this is the video that could save you from making the exact same mistake. I have been a mortgage loan officer for 25 years. I have seen buyers lose homes for every reason you can imagine. But this particular story is the one I tell every single new client in their first meeting, because it is the most common, the most avoidable, and the most devastating mistake first-time buyers make. Let me tell you exactly what happened, and then I will explain what you need to know to make sure it never happens to you. Her name was Sarah. She was 22 years old, working her first real job out of college, and she had been saving for her down payment for 2 years. When she finally got pre-approved, it was one of the best days of her life. She found the perfect starter home, a small 2-bedroom townhouse in a good neighborhood, priced right at the top of her budget. She put in an offer. It was accepted. She paid her earnest money deposit. She scheduled the inspection. Everything was moving forward. And this is where the mistake happened. Sarah figured, since her loan was already approved, she might as well start preparing for the move. She went to a furniture store that weekend and picked out a beautiful sectional couch, a coffee table, and a matching chair. The total was just under $4,000. The store offered her 0% financing for 12 months, and she took it. She signed the paperwork, put down a small deposit, and left the store feeling like a real adult, a homeowner in waiting. What Sarah did not know is that signing that financing paperwork triggered a hard credit inquiry. It added a new open account to her credit report. It increased her total monthly debt obligations by about $150 a month. And it changed her debt-to-income ratio just enough to push her outside of her lender's approval guidelines. Here is what most first-time buyers do not understand. When a lender pre-approves you for a mortgage, that approval is not final. It is conditional. The lender is approving you based on a snapshot of your credit, your income, your employment, and your debt at that specific moment in time. But between pre-approval and closing, the lender runs what is called a soft recheck, and then right before closing, they run a hard recheck. They are looking to see if anything has changed. New debts, new credit inquiries, changes in employment, large deposits or withdrawals, anything that could affect your ability to repay the loan. When Sarah's lender ran the final check 3 days before closing, they saw the new furniture financing account. They recalculated her debt-to-income ratio with the new monthly payment included. And her ratio was now too high to qualify for the loan. The underwriter had no choice. The loan was denied. Sarah lost the house. The seller kept her earnest money deposit, which was $3,000. She had to go back to her parents and explain what had happened. And the worst part was, she still had a $4,000 furniture contract to pay for a couch that would not even fit in her parents' basement. This is a true story, and it is not unique. I have seen this exact scenario play out hundreds of times over 25 years. Sometimes it is furniture. Sometimes it is a car. Sometimes it is a new credit card for home improvement supplies. Sometimes it is something as small as co-signing a loan for a family member. But the pattern is always the same. A buyer gets pre-approved, they assume they are in the clear, and they make a financial move that changes the numbers. So let me give you the rules. Write these down. Screenshot them. These are the things you absolutely cannot do between pre-approval and closing. Breaking any of these rules can cost you your dream home. Rule number 1. Do not apply for any new credit. Not a credit card. Not a store financing account. Not a car loan. Not a personal loan. Not a line of credit. Nothing. Every new credit application triggers a hard inquiry. And every hard inquiry lowers your credit score. Even if your score only drops a few points, that could be enough to push you out of the rate tier you were approved in. Or worse, push you below the minimum score for your loan program. Rule number 2. Do not finance any large purchases. I know it is tempting to start getting ready for the move, but any new financed purchase, whether it is furniture, appliances, electronics, or anything else, creates a new monthly obligation. Your lender is going to see that obligation, calculated into your debt-to-income ratio, and it can disqualify you. Wait until after closing to buy anything on payments. Rule number 3. Do not make large cash deposits into your account without documentation. Lenders look at every deposit over a certain threshold, and if they cannot verify where the money came from, they will flag it as an unsourced fund. If your uncle gives you cash as a gift, do not just deposit it. Get a formal gift letter signed and dated, showing the amount, the relationship, and a statement that the money is not expected to be repaid. Document everything. Rule number 4. Do not change jobs. Even if the new job pays more, even if it is a promotion, even if it is in the same industry, do not make the switch until after closing. Lenders verify employment right up until the day of closing. If your job status changes, they have to re-underwrite the entire file, and in some cases the loan gets denied because of employment gaps or probation periods. Rule number 5. Do not close any existing credit accounts. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but closing old credit cards actually lowers your credit score because it reduces your available credit and shortens your credit history. A lot of buyers try to clean up their finances right before closing by paying off and closing old accounts. Do not do it. Leave everything exactly the way it was on the day you got pre-approved. Rule number 6. Do not move money around between accounts without documentation. Lenders need to see consistent records. If you transfer $15,000 from your savings to your checking a week before closing, they are going to ask where that money came from and why it moved. Be prepared to document every single transaction. Rule number 7. Do not co-sign a loan for anyone. Even if it is for your best friend, even if it is for your grandmother, even if you have no intention of ever making a payment on it. The moment you co-sign, that debt shows up on your credit report, and the lender treats it as your debt. It changes your debt-to-income ratio, and it can kill your approval. Now here is the question I get from every new client after I tell them these rules. When does it end? When am I safe? The answer is, you are not safe until the loan funds and the deed records, which typically happens 1 to 3 business days after closing. Until that happens, treat your financial life like it is frozen. Do not touch anything. Do not apply for anything. Do not make any moves that are not already in motion. I know this sounds extreme, but here's the reality. The period between pre-approval and closing is the most dangerous financial window in the entire home buying process. You have already put money down. You have already paid for inspections and appraisals. You have already emotionally committed to a specific house. And the lender has the power to kill the deal right up until the final second if anything changes. Let me tell you what Sarah did next. After losing her dream home, she came back to me 6 months later. This time, she knew the rules. She waited to buy furniture. She did not open any new credit. She did not touch her money. And when she closed on her second home, a similar townhouse in the same neighborhood, she did it the right way. She is living there today. But the $3,000 she lost on the first deal, and the emotional toll of watching her dream home slip away, those are things she will never get back. The lesson is simple. The couch can wait. The new car can wait. The credit card can wait. Your dream home cannot. Here is what you need to do right now if you are in the home buying process. First, print out these 7 rules and keep them somewhere you will see them every day. Second, call your loan officer and ask them exactly what their guidelines are around new credit, new debt, and employment changes during the underwriting period. Every lender is slightly different, and you need to know your specific rules. Third, do not make any major financial decisions without calling your loan officer first. If you are thinking about something, anything, that could affect your finances, pick up the phone and ask. Your loan officer would rather get a call about a hypothetical than a panic call 3 days before closing when the deal is falling apart. And here's one more piece of advice from 25 years of doing this job. The best buyers I work with are the ones who treat the underwriting period like a financial timeout. They do not buy anything. They do not change anything. They do not do anything except answer their lender's questions and show up to closing. That is the mindset that gets deals done. Sarah's story does not have to be your story. The 7 rules I just gave you are the difference between losing your dream home and closing on it. Do not be the person who buys a $4,000 couch 3 weeks before closing. Do not be the person who co-signs a loan for a family member. Do not be the person who switches jobs for a promotion. Wait until the loan funds. Wait until the deed records. Wait until you have the keys in your hand. Then do whatever you want. If you are buying a home in the next 12 months, subscribe to this channel right now. Every single week, I break down exactly what lenders look for, exactly what kills deals, and exactly what 25 years of mortgage experience has taught me about helping buyers close on their dream homes. No fluff, no jargon, just the information that actually protects your deal. And if you are currently in the home buying process, share this video with your loan officer or real estate agent. It could be the thing that saves your deal. I will see you in the next one.